I was wondering, I want to go way back to the early 80s. Do you still remember how you came up with the name Dragonslayer?
We never did.
No?
No.
It's not true.
It's a myth to this day.
Okay, well now it's your chance for once and for all.
Yeah, we never had Dragonslayer attached to it. I think in the early days, the confusion might have came by, you know, telling somebody it was Slayer and they'd be like Slayer and you're like, yeah, like Dragonslayer or something. And I think it just evolved into people thinking that's what we called our name, called our band. We never did.
Okay. Okay, well that's once and for all set up then.
Yeah, I told the next guy.
No, but now it's on. Now everyone can see it on the web. I was wondering, you have a new album now. It's well, your previous one was in 2001. God Hates Us All. How do you look back on this album now? Because it's been 5 years now, and now you have a new album. What are your memories of that album?
The funny thing is, like, we probably toured. Well, we toured forever on that album. Probably 3 years into the tour, when I started getting serious about Christ Illusion, I'd be like thinking, you know, I just said God hates us all.
Yeah.
What am I going to say after that? You know, that's kind of like, that's the end of it. So it was basically, you know, thinking about things that are as edgy as that, and just, you know, getting the songs together and ideas that are Slayer, but different enough to where it don't just sound like one of the old songs. So that's what I was thinking about, you know, going into the album. But looking back at God Hates Us All, I like that record a lot. I think the new one sounds better. I think we spent more time getting the good sounds, and I think the new one's more complete. But I like I like the last two we did better than anything we did in the 90s.
Yeah? How come do you have an explanation that those two albums are more, well, you're more fond of them?
These last two, I wrote most of them. And, you know, that's not saying I don't like what Jeff and Tom writes, but the last one we did in the 90s, Diablos and Music, it was probably the most experimental, for lack of a better word, for us, and it wasn't heavy enough for me, you know, and I think we messed around and, you know, tried to get away from what people like about Slayer too much, and we should have just, you know, been ourselves. And that's what I think we've done the last two records.
But how come then you got more away then? Was it, if you look back at it now, was there some kind of reason you did more experimental stuff?
I didn't write much of it.
Okay.
And, you know, that's not the cure-all to all Slayer's problems. It's just like, if I'm not involved, Jeff will tend to get more abstract, I guess. You know, he experiments more than I do, and if he writes a whole bunch of stuff, it's going to sound more experimental than if I do it, because I don't try to experiment. I just try to make up good Slayer tunes, and he gets bored with things and, you know, tries things. And it's funny because I did most of Divine Intervention, Jeff did most of Diablos, and I did most of the last two. It's like, it hasn't been a 50-50 record between me and him since, like, Seasons, I think, was the one where it was pretty close.
And how come?
I think it's just, I don't know. I think he's got, in the 90s I had a lot of hobbies, and it got me away from working with Slayer as much as I should. And then before we did God Hates, I got rid of all my hobbies and said, you know, the hobbies should be a backseat to the band, not vice versa. And, you know, I realized that, and I, you know, started putting more time into Slayer and wrote more songs because of it.